So, today is one of those days again where I need to do things at a time. Even though I said it the last time as well, and I didn't do it. I really didn't. Because I felt that I shouldn't be doing it too often. And I do just want to create something and make something that is worthwhile consuming and also for me worthwhile doing, I just don't want to make something for the sake of doing something and or making something, therefore. But yeah, it's difficult. It really is, and it takes effort and time and everything as well. But I shouldn't and I don't wanna sacrifice sleep for that, so I need to be doing things a bit differently today. I would at least say, I guess. Anyway, I hope you're doing fine. I hope you're feeling fine. Today is an interesting day. I don't know, like today I'm once again having a day off, which is pretty fortunate to be honest, because I don't know, it just feels good, even though I know that then I'll have to work for 5 days, and then I think another day off, and then 2 days and 4 days off, which I really am excited for, just having multiple days to, be able to do something. Maybe I'm gonna, I don't know, maybe I'm probably not gonna do anything. Hopefully I'm gonna do something smart, something that makes me feel good. And which, by the way, I think is very important. Like, in terms of pleasure, but also in terms of, just in terms of you feeling good. And I know that there are certain things that just make me feel good. For example, getting things done that I should have gotten done a while ago, for example, But there's other things that just make one feel good, and it obviously is going to be something different for me and for you, which is just what it is, something that we have all to deal with, and this is what life makes interesting, Some things work for me, some things work for you, some things wouldn't work for me that work for you, and also vice versa. Quite. So yeah, let's actually see if I can find some right things to work with and to talk about and to incorporate into this amazingly interesting and amazingly amazing episode. The man who sleeps on the floor can never fall out of bed, Alan Watts, who said it was a proverb from somewhere else. You can definitely interpret this in a number of different ways, but the one that sticks out to me is that when you sleep on the floor, you are grounded, and when you're on your bed, you are in a sort of comfortable cloud that helps you forget the hardness of the ground. Well, yeah, what it means for me is just, if you're sleeping on the floor, there's no way things can get worse. And I, by the way, have also done that. I've slept on the floor, even though not really on the floor. I still had some mat and I think a blanket, and I was on a carpet because I was quite feared that I'm gonna get ill, and I really don't want to have that. Like, even if it is good practice and whatnot, I just don't have to, make myself feel even worse than I already do, without being like, okay, I'm just feeling so bad about myself and whatever. But you know what I mean. I don't need to get ill. It wouldn't make too much sense. Anyway, I think it is pretty cool. And I did just wonder in which ways it could be applied to certain other things in life. And I don't know, like, I don't know, like, not having anything, Obviously, you're not going to be able to lose anything if you don't own anything. But let's see what comments are actually saying. Maybe they can give me. Tao Te Ching, verse 13. Success is as dangerous as failure. Hope is as hollow as fear. What does it mean that success is what does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky. When you stand with your 2 feet upon the ground, you will always keep your balance. What does it mean that hope is hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms that arise from thinking of the self. If we have no selves, what trouble would we have? Or you can sleep on bed, just accept the fact that there is a possibility of fall and behave accordingly. That is what most Stoics warn us about. They never tell us to not sleep on a bed, figuratively or literally, just how one's supposed to deal with the fall. If one were to take this proverbial bed literally, how ridiculous it would be to give up on comfort and safety of bed because you don't want to fall on the floor. That isn't very Stoic, is it? Scared of some fall that may or may not come. Well, I'm not quite sure. Like, for me it makes sense that it is something Stoic, because, maybe you could also talk about pleasure, like the pleasure of having a comfortable bed. And by the way, I felt the pleasure, It felt insane, really insane, sleeping in a bed again, after not sleeping in a bed for a night, maybe even 2 nights. Even though, which was something that really was staggering and interesting and strange, just literally strange, was the fact that I was able to sleep better on the floor from time to time than in my fucking bed. At least I was able to sleep in way, way, way quicker. Obviously, once I've slept in a bed and on the floor and then in a bed, then it just really felt amazing, and I was able to get a way better sleep, and which is, I think, understandable if you're just experiencing one thing that is quite bad and then another thing that is way better. Obviously, things are going to be different and things are going to be better and you're going to feel better and so on and so forth. Anyway, let's see if there's something else. Obsessing over best friend, please help. This is my first ever post on Reddit, so please blah 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 blah. I have a friend who I consider to be extremely close to. We knew each other before the pandemic but became extremely close during it. Around September/October of last year, I had somewhat of a mental breakdown and needed some space. Ever since, I could see our friendship gradually declining, and we would go days without speaking in awkward texts. She used to update me on her life, and now I barely know anything. She also doesn't seem to mind if we go days/weeks without texting, and I feel like I've been out on the back burner. Well, I mean, I can understand people that are like, well, you didn't want to talk to me then, and so this is just how I'm doing things, and I just don't want to talk to you, because I'm also having a breakdown or I just don't feel like it. I don't know, like the thing is this something that a real friend is doing? One could argue about that, One could also argue about certain feelings, and this is just vaguely talking about some shit that I just don't know anything about. But, if it is boy and girl, or if there's just some romantic spark things and things going on and whatnot, then one could talk about jealousy and one could talk about it just being complicated and things like that and whatsoever, if you know what I mean and if you know what I'm referring to. But I don't know, like maybe it's just gonna take time, but yeah, but yeah, just something that I've noticed, and shout out to a good friend of mine whom I'm actually really missing. Really, really, really missing. It's actually the first time where I am not seeing him on a regular basis, which is quite interesting because, before we went into the same school and also the same class, and then we've been, working on the same thing basically. But since I finished this thing that we all have to do and where I'm living, I am just working somewhere else, and it's just I can't just meet him randomly during work and whatnot. It's interesting, like it really is, and it is strange, First time actually feeling that. First time feeling that, okay, I miss him, and I miss seeing him. I miss just the random interactions and those things. Like it's really interesting to me. It really is. And something to keep in mind, I'd say, just looking forward in life and seeing where you're heading, and making sure that you're not going to be crippled, and that everything is going to be fine then, and you can deal with this situation, just preparing yourself for it. And also, on the other hand, not relying on certain people too much, which is something as well that I thought about, because, well, I don't know, like I don't want to be slave to certain people, I guess, even though I think it is totally normal, since they are my friends. It's interesting. It really is. I just feel like diversifying things a bit, and just not having to rely on one person for different things. Like, I don't know, and also on the other hand, just opening up for other people, having different relationships, having other friends, and so on and so on and so on. I think it's like, yeah, something to really keep in mind, something to focus on. But yeah, obsessing over, I've just read that. How to literally start from nothing. Doing something. Can't do more than that. I design tombstones for a living. What do you think of this model? Looks quite interesting. Pretty modern. Today I learned, despite modern connotations of death as evil, the Greek god Hades was actually more altruistically inclined. Very few individual aspects of his personality were recorded, as Greeks refrained from giving him much thought to avoid attracting his attention. Which is very smart, by the way. If you don't have an idea of anything, well, this could also backfire in terms of, okay, things that we shouldn't be talking about and shouldn't be having in mind, get way more interesting for people to just discuss, talk about, research on, and so on and so forth. Like, it is like me saying, just don't think about a polar bear. Then you gotta think about a fucking polar bear. It is what it is. You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. Be mindful of the people around you and keep good company. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna see you the next time. Bye-bye.